Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Embrace Hollywood. In the last part, we almost died. It's a thing. I'm just gonna put it out there, we almost died. If you want to know what happened, I have a playlist. If you want to play this game yourself to see how it happens, from your own choices, or even if that happens to you in the first place, buy the game. It's on Steam, and it's on itch.io. I have the links in the description. If you want to support the devs in a different way, I also have their Patreon in the description as well. Let's go. We're getting a phone call. A loud noise jolted me awake. It was the phone. Someone was ringing me at the ungodly hour of 7:18 p.m. After shaking off the haze of sleep, I reached out to grab the receiver. Hello? Hello? No reply. Had they already hung up? It must have been the wrong number. Then all of a sudden... What the fuck? A soft, bitter sob leaked out from the other end of the line. I couldn't recognize the voice. It wasn't a woman's, but it didn't sound much like any man I knew either. Are you okay, or who are you? Are you okay? The pitiful whimpers almost sounded like they were trying to form words. But I couldn't make anything out, only the sound of grief. Shuddering inhales between choked sobs. What's wrong? Please tell me. Seriously, who's there? Randall? Eve? Marcus? What's wrong? Please tell me. There was a long pause. Were they going to finally say something? What if... Like... The line went dead. Is it someone that I used to know that is like, oh my god, they're alive, oh, sob sob? I don't know. But it's someone we don't know. Or recognize. This is interesting. I reflectively shook my head. Even though the voice was gone, I felt like I could still hear those quiet sobs echoing in my ears. It hadn't sounded like someone I knew. What if it was? Call Randall or go back to sleep? Call. Even though the voice probably wasn't Randall's, my mind was already racing through the worst possible scenarios. At least I knew his number though, unlike the others. I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep like this. Better to call and make sure that he was alright. Quickly dialing Randall's number, I listened to it ring once, twice, 3 times. Yeah? Who is this? Randall's gruff greeting rang out, same as always. Hey Randall, just wanted to make sure you were okay, or... You didn't happen to just call me, did you? This is sort of like putting forward like, hey, something weird happened, and I'm just calling to make sure it wasn't you. And this is putting sort of like being vague about it. Probably tell him anyway, but you didn't happen to call... You didn't happen to just call me, did you? Oh, hey Antonio. Wait, call you? I didn't know. Why, did someone ring your room and hang up? Yeah, they were crying. Nah, it's nothing important. It's important. Yeah, and they were crying. Crying, huh? That's a little freaky. Maybe someone drank a little too much spiked blood. He paused for a moment, clearing his throat. Oh, actually, I wanted to ask you something. Okay. See, ever since tension started heating up, I haven't really been able to see Marcus. His place is pretty close to Charisse's turf, and he hadn't been picking up any calls for a while. Weird. I just saw him. And with the way things are going, well, I wanted to drop by his place tonight, get to catch up a little. Who knows when I'll be able to see him again. Anyway, I was hoping you'd come with me. Look, I'm sure. I don't mind. You didn't want to visit him alone, or I guess if you really want me to. I guess, if you want me to. Well, I wouldn't be asking you if I didn't. You ever been to his, shop before? Yes, it's unforgettable to say the least. Yes, and it's incredible. Or, maybe you should pick something out for me. Maybe you should pick something out for me there. I'm so tempted. It's between the next. I want my... What if we lay in real hard? Let's do it! Maybe you should pick something up for me. Man, that's a great idea. I'm sure Marcus wouldn't act like a smug dick about it the whole time or anything. It'd be amazing just for that experience. Oh my god. I'm not crying. I'm laughing. Ooh. Dick. Freaking, I love him. Randall snickered, clearly amused by the thought. I'll meet you there in about an hour, alright? And hey, be careful on the streets, Antonio. His voice abruptly grew solemn. After those two crazy vampires jumped you, don't you fucking dare go anywhere dangerous by yourself, okay? I'll keep that in mind, but sometimes you can't avoid it. You never know what can happen these days. Feels like nobody's ever really safe. His quiet warning stayed in my ears after we hung up, even as I readied myself to leave the hotel. It mingled with my memory of the mysterious caller, and though I knew it had probably just been a prank or a wrong number, something about it still haunted me. What if it was my voice from the future? What if it's like saying like, you got a bad end, bitch? I hope not. Well, you're a sight for sore eyes. When I arrived at Blood and Roses a short while later, Randall was already waiting for me. Something about him seemed different tonight. Maybe it was only the scribbles on his hand. I noticed even more than the last time I'd seen him. You just gonna stand there and stare at me? Come here. He pulled me into his arms, nuzzling an affectionate kiss on the top of my head. I missed you, and hug him tightly. Or are you feeling okay, Randall? You shouldn't stay out here too long. The Discovering Ghouls might see you. This one is making me like question like, he's probably having some stuff going on. You know what? I missed you. Hug him tightly. I missed you too, Antonio. His arms returned to my squeeze, but more gently, cradling instead of crushing me. It feels like you're the only person who gets me, sometimes. As we separated, a smile quickly crawled back over his lips. Come on, let's head inside. I didn't call him before I left, so it's gonna be a surprise visit. But he's got the open sign on, so I'm guessing we can probably enter his orifice. Bitch. I mean, his office. And, I follow Randall through the door, unsure of what we'd find. The gaudy gothic depths of B&R welcomed me in once more, its velvet walls reminiscent of an artificial womb. There was no signs of Marcus, but I could sense a presence nearby. And for the sake of all the vampires in Los Angeles, it's necessary that... Beg your pardon. Oh god, everyone's here! Beg your pardon, good queen. It would appear that we have visitors. A pair of voices rang out from beyond the shelves. One belonged to Marcus, but the other was just as familiar. It's Charisse! What? You. When he rounded the corner, Randall stopped dead in his tracks. Both of you! Play nice! And she's so tiny compared to him. Not too tiny, she's pretty- that means she's like pretty tall. Or her heels make her or she's wearing heels. Cherie stared back at Randall with a mix of shock and horror. It was like someone had told her the hotel burned to the ground. No, even then she probably wouldn't look so appalled. Well, now isn't this a charming little congregation? Marcus, on the other hand, was beaming as if Christmas had just come early. The Red Queen, the Superstar, myself, and Antonio, our grand unifier. I don't have a title, it's just me. Shall I fetch the tea and scones? Or, no, perhaps something a little lighter, since the two of you are undoubtedly already suffering from indigestion? Oh my god. Oh, he's loving this. I love him. Instead of clobbering us for your dull humor, Marcus, perhaps you can explain what Randall and Antonio are doing here. We came to visit Marcus. I was under the impression that this would be a private meeting. And I was under the impression that there's a fucking open sign outside, so I didn't need a goddamn warrant to come in. That just looks more incriminating with me and you walking into a sex shop. It didn't take very long for him to recover their wits and start shooting hateful remarks at each other. Maybe we should all calm down. Or can't you two just act like a duh? Or stay silent. I'm tempted to just be like, you guys need to like work some shit out. I'm obviously gonna be cut off no matter what, so I'm just gonna be like, Well, unlike you, Randall, I am here to attempt to find a way to end this city's conflict peacefully. Peacefully? Am I missing something here? Because the way I see it, it'd be pretty fucking peaceful if you just stepped down, like we've gone through 1,000 goddamn times before. Oh yes, of course, how silly of me. Let me just throw away all the work I've done to make LA a safer place for all of us. For the first time since I'd met her, Cherie sounded legitimately furious, her normally composed voice full of passion. The territorial boundaries to avoid conflicts, the rulers to keep us from slaughtering each other, the system that prevents new vampires from being simultaneously turned and thrown into the world, jeopardizing all of our existences. What makes you think your leadership is more important in all of that? That is true. Like, she could still... What is the issue? Is it just because she's the figurehead and they want someone else to be the figurehead, or no one to be the figurehead and still have those laws in place? Is that what Randall wants? Because we still need someone or like a whole kind of like system happening to make sure that those things stay in place. And even then apparently it's still restricting. Oh no, my head hurts. What makes you think your leadership is the important part in all of that? Randall cut Cherise off with a snarl, pointing an accusing finger at her face. Plenty of other cities with vampires get along just fine without tyrants telling them what to do. Why the fuck is LA any different? That's what I was thinking about. Like, we have someone from like New York and London, right? Those two vampires. And it seems like something's going on there. It's like, is there like a power play or like a greater thing going on in LA that's making it harder for Cherise to do her job or to do like other cities have done? This city has the highest vampiric population in the world. Don't you understand that we're... If I may be so bold as to interrupt. Marcus gently raised a hand. I'm like standing there like, I'm just letting them like let it out. Because I don't want to get my head chopped off here. There's tension. The other two reluctantly paused, turning their attention towards him. Even though he had two of LA's most powerful and angry vampires standing in his shop, Marcus looked incredibly relaxed. And I had to wonder if he planned all of this from the start. That's what I was wondering. I was like, he probably like wasn't calling Randall or anything just to get him to go to the shop to check on him before things went down. And here we are. Then again, nothing really seems to catch Marcus off guard. Surely we are all aware that the conflicts in LA is ascendant in this rickety... Wow. In this rickety cable car to a... You know what? We're gonna get the voiceover to say this for me.
Surely we are all aware that the conflict in Los Angeles is ascendant in its rickety cable car to a tumultuous finale.
It will not be long now, before our redeemer and villain becomes clear. Yet who they are still remains as murky as the light-polluted sky. The three of us are all rather biased, as we've been established in the city for some time now. However... Frickin'... With a slow, elusive smirk curled over his lips, Marcus gestures grandly towards me. I'm biased as heck! Especially after I fucking said to Randall, I'll stick with you. This is great. Amazing. Thanks, Marcus. Two pairs of sharp eyes flicked onto my face. Our friend Antonio here, despite his close ties to Randall, may have a more lucid take on things, especially considering his recent arrival. Tell us, Antonio, what are your thoughts on the redemption of LA? Why can't we come to a compromise? This is me! Or Cherise is right, we need rules to keep us safe. Or Randall's right, Cherise, you need to step down. Why can't we fucking compromise? Why can't we come to a compromise? This is my feelings. I'm like, fucking get your shit together! The room went completely silent, though outside the shop's windows I heard the dull hum of traffic droning on. Cherise. Randall. I love both of you. Both of you are so special to me, and I want you guys to work together. But both of our factions are fucked up. In that moment, the anger between Cherise and Randall suddenly seemed to deflate. But the look in their eyes wasn't one of hope. We've tried, Antonio. Randall finally broke the silence, muttering quietly. We don't want to end up wiping each other out. But our houses will not reconcile. I know, and that's what's frustrating for me! They're so set on their ways, and you too! I love you both! This is so frustrating! I want to cry! From the way Charisse finished Randall's thoughts, it was clear they tried to talk. Wow, okay, I'm fine. From the way Charisse finished Randall's thought, it was clear that they'd tried this talk before. Maybe too many times. At the start of this war, Randall and I tried to find common ground, to reach a compromise that would work for everyone. Until we finally realized that they don't want a compromise. Let's run away. Let's all, like, 5 of us, let's take Keith. We can't leave him behind. Wait, no, we gotta take David too. Let's just leave. Fuck this city. I'm out. His gaze drifted between Charisse and me, finally setting on my face with a longing resignation. And so we started speaking out against each other, trying to force the other into leaving or resigning the things that our followers wanted. Because the only way for our houses to feel satisfied is for the other one to lose. The room fell quiet again. Marcus leaned against the counter, observing us with his dimly glowing eyes. I wanted to believe that one day you and I would be able to come together, Randall. But it seems that there was only a fool's idealism in the end. With a humorous smile, Charisse shook her head, taking a step towards the door. Wait, Charisse. Yes? When she paused to glance back at us, Randall grimaced. Thanks. What are you thanking me for? For letting Antonio come to me, even if it was just to serve your own fucking end somehow. He lowered a hand onto my shoulder, grasping it for reassurance. With or without the war, I didn't know I needed him as much as I did. Charisse, I'm gonna cry! Stop! Shut up! Shut up! Charisse blinked at him, speechless. It was hard to blame her. She probably hadn't come here expecting to be genuinely thanked by Randall, of all people. Yes, well. Depending on how the final die is cast. In the end, you might not be so thankful after all. As her troubled words faded into silence, Charisse vanished around the shelves. The shop door opened and closed a moment later. And then it was only the 3 of us. None of us spoke. Randall still stood close to my side. But when I glanced over to him, something about his expression seemed strangely withdrawn. I feel like I fucked that up. Because again, it was like, between those two I should have chosen Randall because I told him I would choose him. But then there was the third option and I was like, this is me! The brief meeting had thrown him off his pace, and it seemed like he was struggling to get it back. If you want to avoid any spontaneous encounters with your nemesis, perhaps you should be more careful with the places you visit. Marcus shattered the silence with a dry murmur to Randall, lifting an eyebrow. Sorry, Marcus. I thought I'd come by with Antonio to see you, but I wasn't expecting all that. Yes, you and Antonio. It seems the 2 of you had decided to damn yourselves further with a certain commitment. I'm unsure whether to offer my congratulations or condolences. Maybe you should offer both, or whatever happens, happens. Right now I'm happy. And if you can't be happy with me in shitty times like these, it can only get better, right? Randall gazed affectionately at me, relaxing ever so slightly. Despite Marcus's stare, he cut my cheek with one hand, tracing a thumb lightly across it. Marcus, you're being very close and forward, oh my! Now.
I would be happy to offer both of you a complimentary gift from my shop, but I'm afraid no licentious acts are permitted on the premises, so please refrain from defiling my emporium of pornography.
That was so much better with the voiceover, fuck. Sure, but only because you asked nicely. Randall's playful grin lightened his face for a few lingering moments. before it faded into a wan, uncertain smile. Well, idle chatter aside, you did come here for a reason, did you not? Well, yeah, I mean, we... Sighing, Randall glanced away from us briefly. Shit, who am I kidding? You've guessed it already, didn't you? It's written all over your face. You wanted me to lend my support to you and Antonio. Marcus replied swiftly, his upper lip curling a tiny bit. It's not what you told me, Randall, or you don't want to, Marcus, or ... I know Marcus doesn't want to choose sides. That's not what you told me, Randall. You wanted to check on him one last time, but at the same time maybe you implied it. That's not what you told me, Randall. I didn't want you to think I was just bringing you along to get his sympathy or anything. But you're as a core to LA's future as any of us, and I don't feel right going behind your back. Marcus leaned against the counter with a heavy sigh, his gaze roaming across the newspaper. For a moment he suddenly broke into a soft smile, like someone had whispered a joke that only he could hear. Every vampire in the city either believes I am the boogeyman, wants me dead, or wants something from me. Some days I don't know which of them are which. His eyes looked up to Randall, though not as accusing as his words implied. Then his focus shifted onto me. The future of Los Angeles is yours to build, not mine. I want everything. I want everyone to work together. It's not gonna happen. It's so hard. Marcus, it's hard. He's gonna be like, I know. We are all part of it, and it is part of us. Ineffable, inescapable, intangible. But how you make your peace with it, that's none of my affair. Let him be, Randall. He doesn't want to choose sides. He's choosing his own side. Marcus's words seemed to shatter Randall's heart. There is no surprise in his eyes, just the awful sinking look of someone being told news that they dreaded. Are you trying to say you don't care what happens to us? I think he cares. He doesn't want to choose a side. He's in it for himself, right? He's his own god. It doesn't matter to you if LA gets crushed under someone's boot, or if every vampire lives in fear, or we all get killed for what we said and done. I understand. It's our responsibility. Or, we don't need his help, Randall, and he knows that. That seems actually mean. I understand. It's our responsibility. I know that, Antonio. I just hoped that... Oh, we want everyone... He looks up to Marcus. So, having him on his side would have been, like, reassuring, maybe? I don't know. My heart hurts for Randall. Oh, the ache. Forget it. Shaking his head gently, Randall reached down to take my hand. Come on, Antonio. Let's leave Marcus to his shop. I followed Randall to the door, weaving through the forest of shelves, sinking slightly into the thick carpet. But as we were about to step outside, I felt Marcus's eyes still on my back. Look back, don't look back, look back. When I glanced over my shoulder, I saw that Marcus has followed us from a distance. He nodded at me ever so slightly, then jerked his chin towards Randall's back. And with this small gesture, he turned away, disappearing even more into the depths of the shop. Boo. Man, every time I take you somewhere, some kind of shit always goes down, doesn't it? That might be me. That might be my fault. Randall muttered under his breath as the shop door closed behind us. Maybe we should only hang out at petting zoos from now on. At least no one was shot this time. That's an improvement. Or did you really think visiting Marcus would be uneventful? Or maybe I should be the one picking the date spots. I like these two. I like this one though. Did you really think it would be uneventful? Did you really think visiting Marcus would be uneventful? Oh, Randall. He let out a faint sigh, a few strands of his hair falling over his eyes. You know, I figured the worst thing that could happen was Marcus getting mad and throwing a butt plug at my head. But I guess he decided to just fuck both of us instead. He spoke with the strange humor of someone trying to mask their disappointment. Let me hug you. Honestly, I didn't think he'd offer his support, since he's just not that kind of guy. But for your sake, I thought I'd give it a try. For my sake? Or I wonder if there's anything that could convince him. For my sake? The best way to keep you safe would have been for Marcus to work something out with Charisse. Or hell, even just keeping an eye on you at the hotel since I can't. He's got a kind of power that nobody else has in the city. Like I told you when we first met, he could take LA under his thumb if he wanted to. Or if word got out that he supported us, even the goals would be shitting themselves. Marcus has a real reputation, that's for sure. But he won't lend his support to any side. He just wants to let the dice fall for whatever fucking reason. I just wish I understood why. Randall gave me a long, uncertain look. Fuck, I didn't want you to see me like this in there, though. You know I think Charisse is a bitch and needs to get off her fucking throne, but... when I see her, it's like coming face to face with the thing that scares me the most. A dictator who thinks they're justified by the will of the people. Who loses their humanity while trying to save it, trying to do the right thing. I never want to be like that. You never will be, Randall, I know you won't. Or, I think Charisse still has her humanity. Or, what if you gave up all your power? That seems like the wrong thing to say. I don't like any of these. The thing is, like him never doing it is like, he might get there. He was probably getting there before I arrived. He still had that humanity with him. And Charisse still has that, but she's going into that place where Randall was getting into too, where it's like doing everything for the good, but all those things are bad. I think Charisse still has her humanity. Yeah. Yeah, she does. Somewhere. Yeah. But I wonder if she really knows she has it anymore. She's always crushing her own feelings, saying she's putting her coven first, because that's what everyone expects her to do. Sometimes... I got emotional there. Whoa! Sometimes I think it's not dictators controlling the people, it's people making their own dictators. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, his people being like so rowdy or just being so like angry about everything was making him making them like let it out, but it was also like giving them that hype, that bad hype. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. He put on a faint smile, one so uneasy that it seemed more like a reflex than anything genuine. Listen, I'm pretty sick of all this depressing shit. I don't want to talk about it right now. That's fair. Randall heaved a sigh, rubbing a hand along his tattooed forearm. But you know, I heard there's something fun going on at the pier tonight, so why don't we head over there to line things up? Hey, you can win me a stuffed animal at the arcade. I want. Sure, let's go. Or, I'll win you all the stuffed animal if it's the last thing I do. Or, we can't hide away from the war forever. But it's these moments of like calm. Probably. I hope it's calm at the pier. Let me win him all the stuffed animals. I'll win you all of the stuffed animals if that's the last thing I do. Oh, you're too good to me, Antonio. You know that? Because it's always going to be those small moments that keeps the humanity in us. We spent the rest of the night in Santa Monica, whiling away the hours with arcade games. Randall had taken an unusually cheerful route to the pier. He said he just wanted us to hang out together, without the other Mavar tracking him down. But as our stuffed animal collection slowly increased and the sunrise crept closer and closer, Randall's smile never grew as bright as it had before. I'm not crying. What are you talking about? Go to stop it here, guys. See you in the next part. I'm gonna go take a break. I'm having feelings. Bye.